All right, Madam Clerk, we ready? We have a whole one item to get through today. All right, please read 925-7.
Resolution 925-7, a resolution approving the annual renewal of Microsoft Office licenses from Insight Public Sector from the NASPO Value Point Purchasing Cooperative amounting to $150,731.92 for the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office and authorizing the county mayor to sign any contracts necessary to implement this resolution.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Ron, anything to add? We don't have any lights.
No, it's budgeted operating. It also includes cloud storage for all of our productivity software.
Okay. Thank you very much. I see no lights. Madam Clerk, we will move to Building and Economic Development. Mr. Chair.
925-8, read its record.
Resolution 925-8, a resolution to approve the firm of Franklin Associates Architects, Inc. for design of the Howard School Indoor Sports Practice Facility.
Mayor?
Chairman, I'm going to try to be brief because the meeting's not been brief so far. What's that? Sure. Dr. Robertson's obviously here to address this, and so is Dr. Ware, the principal of the Howard School. This has been a couple years in the making. As y'all will remember, a couple of years ago when we got clarity on the increased costs of the baseball stadium in the South Broad District, that led to a new financing model that was presented to the city and county for how to cover what was about $40 million in additional costs. Corey Guerin, who is not here this morning, but any of you can reach out to, led those negotiations primarily with Jermaine Freeman when he was the chief of staff at the city. Part of what we sought to accomplish and were able to accomplish was to remove the county from the long-term repayment of a private loan that the developers had offered. It just felt cleaner for county taxpayers to not be participating in what was sort of an experimental type of a loan. The proposal that we came up with that ended up working and was approved by this board was that while Howard had been in the middle of conversations about the redevelopment of the South Broad District, that had never materialized in a specific way. And so we worked with finance to identify bond funds, not from the 2024 bond. Of course, these negotiations preceded the issuance of bonds last year, but to reallocate previous bond funds to make $10 million available for improvements at the Howard School with an emphasis on, and this language was included in the approvals both at the county commission and city council, was around community assets. And so there's several different components to what is being brought forward. Today is only the selection of an architect, but it's the point at which we're ready to talk about what all of those investments will look like at Howard. $2 million of them have already been made and approved by this body. One was an upgrade to their career and technical facilities. The other was the addition of baseball and softball lights. There's roughly $8 million of that commitment remaining. There are HVAC upgrades planned in addition to a new chiller that this body funded last year, and security upgrades, fencing, some renovation funds for the theater, quite a historic theater there on campus at Howard. But the signature investment will be the replacement of the old gym, which was a point of contention when the school was renovated some 25 years ago. 20 years ago. Point of contention just because it meant a lot to the community, but there weren't funds to renovate it properly. It's in terrible disrepair. Students really probably shouldn't be using it in its current condition. And frankly, the school has one of the nicest gym, basketball, volleyball facilities in the county. And so through a lot of conversations with different community stakeholders and certainly a lot of conversations with Dr. Ware, the vision that we had settled on is one for an indoor facility that would be multi-use. We envision everything from soccer, football, baseball, ROTC, PE classes. Very cool project. And you know, as we've brought to y'all before, for example, when we put artificial turf on Howard's campus is different than every other campus, if for no other reason than it is downtown. It's on our downtown footprint. Any investments we make there, we think of as community assets. And as is the case with this indoor facility, we think it's a very valuable tourism asset. Commissioner Baker's obviously worked closely with us, as many of you have, thinking about how we best position our community for tourism and sports tourism. This becomes one of the most interesting assets on the downtown footprint. The only thing like it, and this is probably more Commissioner Smith's wheelhouse than anybody's, when we're talking about youth recreation facilities, I'm not a soccer guy, so to speak, but if we have one deficiency, it is, really only at Camp Jordan can you play any indoor soccer of any kind in this community. And so one of the things we're really excited about on the horizon is that this facility could be programmed in a partnership with Matt Foles, Hamilton County Parks and Recreation, and the school system, both to create a revenue source for the school, but also to activate this as a community hub at nights and on the weekends. Obviously in a central location to so many different people in our community. And so we're bringing this forward again in the form of us just hiring an architect. There will be a contract for that architect that comes in the future. You may have seen some commentary at the school board about the intent being that the other planned investments at Howard, HVAC, fencing, et cetera, would be rolled into this contract with Franklin for the purpose of efficiency of tax dollars. It's listed on the agenda based on this facility because it's that facility that triggers the need for an architect to be involved. But rather than these other investments being designed on an ad hoc basis, the intent of the school system, the county, is to roll them together.
Okay. Dr. Robinson, Dr. Ware, do y'all want to come up?
I don't think I have anything to add. I think the mayor summed it up really well. We're excited about this opportunity. It's something that we desperately need investment at Howard. I know there were some concerns Monday that you may have heard at the school board meeting around some pre-existing issues at Howard, but just to update on that, we have invested through the 60 million portion of that bonds to update some chillers, do some investments in the CTE area around HVAC. Also, enrollment has gone down a little bit, and we're opening up the renovated wing where the old junior high used to be, so that we've got more space. So the space issues that were present, 2 years ago at Howard are no longer an issue. So I feel like it's a good timing to move forward. We're excited about it and take any questions.
Okay. We,
Good morning. I will make it quick. First of all, I just want to say on behalf of the students, the families, and the community of Howard High School, thank you all so very much for your consideration and your support. These upgrades have been long withstanding within our community, and I think we are all aware of what it means to our students when we take action. We take action and we really show them what it means to believe in them and to value them. And so it's not just about the upgrades, but it's really about opportunity, hope, and strength in our community. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for all that you do, not only for the Howard School, but for every school. Our schools are the heartbeat, I believe, of our community. And these actions truly show the community that we value and appreciate them. Thank you so very much.
okay. We do have a few lights, Commissioner Grant.
Mr. Chairman. Dr. Ware, this gives me an opportunity to brag on you a little bit. She is by far the perfect person for that school. When she walks down the hall, as many kids are in that school, she knows, if not all of them, she knows most of them by name or by character. When she does an event or they do an event through the school, whether it's through the theater or graduation or graduating nurses, and I mean, there's so many great things going on at the school. A culinary, I mean, they got a great kitchen to teach kids. I mean, there's so many great things going on right there. It takes a great leader to have a great school. And Dr. Ware, you are by far the right person for that school. And I want to commend you and thank you for willingness to work with me as well as you do. I keep telling you we're partners, and you really include me as a partner, and I greatly appreciate you for that. And I really appreciate the work that you do at that school. The challenges are not just the facilities. I mean, the challenges are language. I mean, there's a huge language barrier there that you manage to get through, and your staff manages to get through. You have such a great staff, and I commend you and I commend your staff. And I haven't found one person there that doesn't do an excellent job. But even with excellent people, they need excellent leadership, and you are that leadership. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Mackey?
Chair, I too want to sing the praises of Dr. Ware. She is an excellent leader and administrator for that school population. This commission is very delighted to help build the infrastructure at Howard. We put a football field in at the behest of Commissioner Beck a couple of years ago, and this new facility that's coming up out of the ground is going to be a great addition. The only question I have, and Whit is not here, but the architect. We have a cadre of architects around the city. Can you make comment about the architect for this school?
Yeah, in fact, I'll send you the 3 finalists that came to us through the architectural selection process. Part of the reason that we chose Franklin was because they were the only firm that is based in Chattanooga that was a finalist. But that's something we can follow up with you to show you what the packages looked like that came in. I want to add one thing. This is sort of obvious to y'all, but for the purposes of the public or any of you all on the commission, Joe Graham, from the day that I came into office, was talking to me about the needs at Howard, particularly the needs. I mean, Dr. Ware had gotten creative to get as much mileage out of the old historic gymnasium as possible. And so I'd just be remiss not to say, even though this has been a winding journey to get us here, Joe, from an HVAC standpoint, we've talked about that old theater a lot. And then when we, really began to hone in on this vision, he's been very helpful and involved along the way. And as Dr. Ware knows, is as involved probably in the schools in his district as any of y'all are.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. It is exciting. I think, I don't remember who all was there. I took a trip up to Ray County with some school folks, looking at indoor facilities that they have up there, all the turf fields that they have. One thing that became pretty evident, I think, from the folks up there is with all the new turf fields and how hot that turf gets during the summer. They're almost required to have an indoor training facility so that they can continue their athletic activities. They're talking about burns from some of the turf that the kids were getting, and the need for that indoor shaded facility with a big, I won't say what they're called, but we all know the big fans that they have in there to keep the air moving around. Maybe I missed this. If I did, I apologize. But is this a full size? I'm sorry. Is this a full size indoor facility? You mentioned soccer. What are the dimensions of it? What's the cost of it? What are the amenities of it? We're going to have big garage doors for ventilation. Is it air conditioned? Is it heated? All those things. I'm curious.
A lot of that's to be determined. I don't think you're talking about a full-size football or soccer field. I don't think the site necessarily will provide for that. But I'd say as a guide in terms of, where our head's been, the Ray County facility, it sounds like you've been to, we visited. I think that's about a half of a football field.
Thereabouts.
I venture to guess that the big side of the indoor facility at East Ridge is even larger than that. Those are, really 2 of the only indoor facilities that are anything like this. And so, we're going to have to value engineer this based on several different expectations, including HVAC upgrades, some upgrades to the theater. We're going to fence the perimeter of the Howard facility, which is even more important given that you're going to have more community activity on the site. But the point, I think the goal would certainly be that youth soccer, that's been part of the conversation with Matt Foles and others, is that it'd be a large enough facility that you could certainly practice any high school sport there or middle school sport. It's only high school, on the campus now, but that it'd be large enough for at least to facilitate youth soccer matches.
Like 80 by 50.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. But I think again, we're a little bit ahead of ourselves because of the process here. The process is you identify the architect first. Architect will then put together a scope and a contract that will come back to y'all. And I would say, that would be a time where we'll, at the point that Franklin would bring us a contract back, that we would have clarity on exactly the size and scope.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Commissioner Highlander?
I have a couple of comments, but do we need Mr. Foles to add to that, to what Mr. Sharp said? Or could we?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Sure, just, we did a one pager and 22,000 square feet is what we're thinking. Probably the 150 to, 150 by 150, 200 to 100, based on the site dimensions, how it might lay out. So that was the initial concept that we're working with in Franklin.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Mr. Foles. What I did want to say, Dr. Robertson, I should have included you when we had that joint meeting. I certainly hope that if you're available, that you would be able to come. And I also want to commend Dr. Ware. I mean, she does a wonderful job. It's obvious that she does. Now, I've heard many people say behind every good man, there's a good woman. Behind every good woman, there's also a good man. And Dr. Gerald Ware, her husband, was one of my former students and one of my favorite all-time students. And they are a great team, and I appreciate them. But I also want to commend Dr. Mackey, being a Riverside graduate, to be so supportive of Howard. Thank you so much. That's like Auburn supporting Alabama. So, thank you very much for the time. If we have school going on, let me ask all of our public to be very careful for children waiting on a ride to school or walking to school. Please be very cautious. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Shipley?
Yeah, I'm excited about this project and I'll support it. But I want to say, I watch these schools more so than ever. And the bond that we passed, the work that Mayor Wamp and the superintendent, along with Justin, Robert Sharp, your brother, all these people are doing, we are doing major projects across this county in our schools. I mean, I was talking to Justin the other day, and just the thousands of square feet of heating and cooling were getting done. Up in my section of the county, lots of projects. Never seen these kind of projects in my lifetime. So I'm thankful that these guys have put us out on a limb to make things better for our children. Thank you.
Commissioner Graham?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll wrap it up because I know Dr. Ware's got to go. To answer Commissioner Sharp's questions, what Matt said, I was part of the selection committee, and so was a coach from Howard, and there was other people involved, but we sat there and we listened to several proposals, and there were several great ideas. And I would venture to say that Franklin has done this before. And plus they're local, but they've also done a lot. Franklin's also done, this had nothing to do with the decision, but Franklin's done a lot of volunteer work for Howard School, the Howard School as well. But this facility, the reason it's kind of so vague is because it's going to be second to none. I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel, but we're taking things that we've learned from other facilities and we're going to put it into this one. So when you talk about a half a football field, that was discussed in there with another wing part of the building for classrooms, but then on the other side of the classroom, soccer facility as well. But the use of big windows and big roll-up doors for the outside to come in, so it expand the building. And more importantly, maybe not more importantly, but as important, it's going to be right there by the freeway. So it's going to be a great symbol, not only for Hamilton County and Chattanooga, but it's going to be a great symbol for the Howard School. So we addressed that the facade that faces the freeway needs to really pop a little bit. It needs to really, to make the Howard School have the pop and circumstance that it deserves. And then there'll also be room for parking. I mean, because she desperately needs parking as well as over there. So that'll all be part of the project and part of the layout from Franklin. And for you to ask me, but for those that are familiar with that property, it's the flat grassy area right by the freeway in the front of the school. So that's going to be a good use of that property, but it also, and I've come to you all several times to fix the old gym. That frees up that area. So when we do can't afford to tear it down and build something else there, it frees up that area where the old gym is to add more classrooms or do something more for the educational purposes, not just for the sporting facilities. So in my opinion, I'm not trying to influence anybody, but it's a good use of that property and it's a good multi-use for the school, but it's also going to be a multi-use for other events that come to town that would be able to use this facility as well. Dr. Ware, thank you so much for being here. You're an awesome lady. I'm proud to know you. I'm proud to work with you. Dr. Robinson, thank you for your patience today. And Mr. Chairman, I think that's all.
Okay, that ends our committee meetings. So appreciate it. Thank you. Brian, if y'all got just 5 minutes,